Okay, hello everybody. My name is Sheridan Scott, and this is my project presentation on digital manga. So, for my project description, I'm basically making a manga app that teaches people Japanese, and I will explain what a manga is in the next section. What it will do is it'll be written in Japanese, and then people can click on words or grammar points that they don't know to figure out what they mean in English. So, what it'll do is teach people vocabulary, grammar, and kanji, which is one of the writing systems in Japanese, which I will explain later as well. And then at the end, you can also do a create your own story kind of practice where users can select words and grammar to practice what they learned during the project. So to understand what my project is, you have to know what manga are. Manga are basically just Japanese comic books. They come in a variety of genres from um, action, adventure kind of manga with cool stories dealing with the underworld to slice of life dealing with high school kids and bullying and all kinds of issues kids face there, or simple everyday things, girl ones dealing with romance. They come in a variety of different types. And the way you read manga is if you look to the one on your right, you read it from right to left. So you start like what would be the back page of an English book would be the front page of a manga, and you read from right to left both when turning the pages and reading. So you start from the top, go down right to left. And manga are important for studying Japanese because they're very popular for those who are studying it. Yeah, I'm a Japanese major, and I know that a lot of people like to read manga to help practice their Japanese, but it can be very tricky just because of the way that Japanese works. And to understand, you have to understand that Japanese has three different writing systems. The first two are hiragana and katakana, and they're syllables basically. The little symbols each represent a syllable. So if you look at the hiragana, what's written as a, I, u, e, o. That doesn't mean anything. They're just syllables. Um, yeah. So they don't mean anything. They're just syllables. And then katakana are syllables as well, but they're used for writing borrowed words from foreign countries. So if I wanted to write hot dog in Japanese, or if I want to write my name in Japanese, I would use katakana. And then what gets really tricky is when you get to kanji, because a single character in kanji, it's not a syllable, it represents an idea. So the red kanji in the slide, that idea represents sun, but it also has a lot of it can be pronounced very different ways. So this one kanji, in the first one it's pronounced nihon. That first part is pronounced ni. And then in the next one it's nichi, and then the third one it's bi, and then next one it's ni. So it can be very tricky when you're learning Japanese to know how to pronounce all these different kanji and what they mean, especially if you're trying to read a manga and they don't have the pronunciations in hiragana next to them, because then you have to jump back and forth between dictionaries to figure out how that kanji is written, what it means in that subject. It's just very complicated on your own. And so that's why I want to create this digital manga, because it allows you to learn kanji and grammar without having to jump back and forth to a dictionary. Everything you need would already be right there in the app. So the scope of my project, I want to teach people vocabulary, so they can learn new words, some grammar points because the grammatical structure of Japanese is very different from that of English, and it can be very complicated if you have not had prior experience with it. And then, of course, reading in kanji, because kanji is just so complicated and it's kind of hard to learn on your own if you don't really have the resources and don't know where to look for them. So my audience for this project would be either high school to college age kids, so anywhere from the range of 14 to 23, because that's in general the age range of most manga readers. And of course, these will be people who are studying Japanese and who probably already have a basic understanding of the language. So they know some basic words, basic phrases, they know very basic grammar structure. They can probably at this point read hiragana and katakana. Um, so this is a little bit higher level than um, merely starting out. And the outcomes I want for this project would be for users to, of course, learn Japanese, learn how to write it, learn how to, well, not particularly write it, but learn how to read it and be, um, just, yeah, really learn how to read it because that's, aside from listening, is one of the main ways you'll use Japanese. And I want them to be entertained by the stories. People read manga because they like the artwork, because they like the stories, and so I want to create something that is interesting, but that is also educational. In my research, I looked at a lot of children's ebooks, so a lot of apps on iPads or other tablets and things like that. Um, During my research, I found that most of the things I looked at were for pre-reading level kids. So there weren't a lot of words, just a lot of pictures, and very, very interactive. This one I found they got what they would do is like it was a book, like a real physical book, and you could attach it to an iPad through a magnet and flip the pages from the real book, and the iPad story would follow, and you can interact with the iPad version. This is a little more complicated than I'm capable of doing, but I do like the idea that people follow the story in the physical and then they can also follow it in the digital. And the digital has more interactive features. The kids could touch the screens, make the pictures move, and just kind of do different things with it that they couldn't do in a physical book. So I like that aspect of a lot of children's ebooks in that they helped kids interact with the stories so that it helped them learn better. I also looked at a lot of online Japanese learning tools, and these are usually just websites, kind of basic. They just have a lesson, and in that lesson you'll learn how to write hiragana, or you'll learn how to write katakana. Then you'll learn some basic grammar and phrases and words and things like that. This one website I found called easyjapanese.org, it also had games, which I really liked because it allows the users to apply their knowledge and helps them um, helps them apply what they learn so that it sticks with them better because just blunt memorization of something isn't going to work. And so that's kind of where I got the idea of users um, creating their own little story at the end, like with pre-drawn pictures, and they can plug in words and grammar that they learned through the story and be able to apply their knowledge. And then I also looked at online manga scans. There's a few websites out there that um, users can scan manga in like translated manga, and people can read them online. And I like these a lot just for the structure that they have. It's a little hard to see because the screenshot's very small, but at the top you have access to the home page and you can go to see all the like the different manga that the website has, or you could search for what they have, and then in the bars right above the pictures you can jump from chapter to chapter and you can jump from page to page. You don't have to follow a linear structure if you don't want to, but of course, if you do want to follow the linear structure, they have back and next buttons, as well as if you click the actual picture or use your arrow keys on your laptop or computer, then you can follow the story linearly that way as well. And I like that the websites, pretty much all manga websites I've seen at least, are structured this way, and I like that people have the flexibility to do what they want. So if they want to see a particular point on one page, but they don't want to have to go through the whole story, they have the option of just jumping back and forth through different pages. So that's another idea I had for that. For my requirements, users should be able to access the content whenever they want. I don't I picture this as more of an app than an actual website. So I want people to be able to access the content without needing Wi-Fi, so that if they're on their iPad somewhere, in their car, and they want to whip out their tablet to start reading and practice their reading, then they can do that. The home screen content should be well organized. That way, I want people to focus on what they're actually learning, not on how to get to where they're learning. So having things clearly labeled, like this topic is what, like this topic is weather, this topic is hobbies, this topic is food, and being able to easily get to all those different subjects without having to do a lot of searching. Stories, again, should be easy to find and read. Again, like the structure for the manga websites you saw before, I want them to be, you can do either linear or you can jump around as much as you want, and it allows for a lot of flexibility and convenience for the user. And then users should be able to leave comments or rate the project. I want to get feedback on what I'm doing, and so um, the best way to do that would be direct feedback, so people leaving comments at the end or on the website, or being able to rate the different stories at the end or the different lessons, and being able to tell me what things they would want to see changed would be very nice. This is a little bit more for me, but it's also for users so that I know what they want to see more of or what they don't want to see. And for the creators, I should be able to get to the content easily so that I can edit and change it. Again, this goes back to the rating and the comment section, so that if there is a an error or people want to see something different, then I can easily get in there and say, okay, I'm changing this right now, and be able to do it in a timely and efficient manner. The story should be drawn similarly. This won't be a problem for me since I'm planning on drawing all my stories so they'll all look the same, hopefully. And this is just so users can avoid confusion. They follow a similar structure and they won't have to think about, oh, this is a different story, like is this different characters, like what's going on. They won't have to figure out the story as much as if it was a bunch of different people drawing them. So there's that aspect. Users should be able to apply their knowledge. This would be at the end, like I said earlier, when you can do the what's that? Like plug in words or grammar to create your own story. And I'm still working on a kind of checks and balances system for that, so that if they do plug in something, then the project will know, oh, you didn't do this right, this is what it's supposed to be, kind of thing. So that they're creating their own content, but they're actually still learning from it and not making mistakes. And buttons and other functions should be highly visible and easily understood. Again, I want people to focus on the content that they're learning, not on how do I navigate this, how do I get to this, things like that. I want it to be plain and simple so that they can actually learn from my project. And obviously, I want users to learn things they did not know before. I want to teach them new words, new grammar, new kanji that they may not have learned in their classes, because this is kind of like a supplement material, and it should be new and it should be different than what they've already been learning. And lastly, I really want users to be entertained. Again, they're read for entertainment, and there's people won't want to read it if it's not entertaining. So I want to make good stories that people will want to read and will want to learn from. And I want to make sure that it's things that users want to see and will want to come back to later. So that's it for my project description. And I'm really looking forward to hearing all of you guys' feedback. And thank you so much for listening.